Welcome back on the path. We are just about finished. We're on thin ice. We're approaching the final age, but more excitingly, if that is a word, if not, I'm claiming it right now. Today, something finally dropped.
Woo!
What was it?
We finally got a little teaser trailer for Blood Origin, the Witcher. I was about to say a one shot because I've got D&D on the brain. It's like a Witcher one shot, a 4 episode
Kinda.
special.
Mini
That's
campaign. There you go.
exactly a mini campaign. It's dropping on Christmas Day. It's 4 episodes, and up until today, we've gotten little to nothing in terms of actual teaser trailer promotional sort of good stuff. They did a little bit at the Netflix To Doom event, but it was more like very random behind the scenes tidbits. Whereas now we've got this teaser trailer. So what did you think of it?
I liked the song
Yeah, it was
that was
lovely.
played. I really liked it. And it's weird because it blew up in our Discord before, and I kept seeing everybody react to it when I couldn't watch it yet.
Yeah.
And nobody mentioned that they liked that song, and it surprised me because I really did like the song. But I still have no fucking idea what the story is. So I don't know. Like they got battles, they got some things. I'm glad we saw something,
Yeah.
but I don't feel in any way more knowledgeable about what it's going to be. But
Yeah.
they didn't say it's going to be canceled, so that's good.
Exactly. That's exactly how I felt. I was like, it looks stunning. The visuals are great. The cast all look really cool and the singing was beautiful. But I still, like you say, I know roughly as a podcaster and as somebody who's very involved in the internet and stuff like that, I know that it's about, the first Witcher or something like that, only because we hear so much about it. If you just saw this trailer as like an average Netflix viewer, you'd just be like, I have no idea what this is about. Like the
No.
story is just so unclear, but I guess there just kind of can be a bit of mystery about it.
And I don't remember who it was. It might have been Hal in the Discord that said if you didn't know this was The Witcher, it looks
Oh yeah.
nothing would tell you that it was. Like there's no feel of it. And I think that's definitely true. But like you said, it's kind of before.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'm forever fascinated by it. At first, I was more fascinated by this before the recasting news of Geralt for
Yeah.
season 4 of The Witcher. But I'm still so interested just to see what this is going to be about, how it's going to be.
Mm.
It looks good. And we are now, what day is it? We're like 6 weeks away, I think.
Yeah, yeah, we're about 6 weeks away from Christmas, yeah.
Christmas Day. As of now, it's 4 episodes. I'm assuming that they were I don't know, because they were cut down from 6, and you would think
Yep.
if there were 6 1-hour episodes, if they cut it down to 4, did they combine it into 4 90-minute episodes?
Yeah.
And the one thing that I hope for is when it went out to 6 episodes, they realized we do not have it set for a 6 episode arc, but we can edit, do some reshoots to where it's 90 minutes, and that way it ends a little bit clearer, not
Mm.
necessarily on a cliffhanger or something like that, but it would make more sense for 90 minutes break, 90 minutes break, 90 minutes break, 90 minutes end. I'm hoping
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. I've seen loads of tweets and everything going around today. Some from like Redain Intelligence, some from people working on the show. And the whole idea of this show is that it is just a one-off. I don't think there's any intention of there being a second series of The Witcher Blood Origin. Like I think it's just its own little story and that's it. So hopefully, yeah, there is no cliffhangers or anything like that. I can't be
But
dealing with
that
like another
is,
break.
but here's the thing, that is not the way business is done
Yeah.
in the past. You can almost say maybe 10-15 years in a post Marvel world
Yeah.
where every fucking thing is tentpoled and everything has to be planned out. That would be incredible if this was simply done for it, but pure speculation on that. We can purely speculate about Netflix, the year they've had from the
Mm.
beginning of the year when they finally posted like a loss in subscribers or loss in profit or whatever it was. Who the hell knows? With the recent news of The Witcher, this is something that I really hope is good. I'm
I
not going
hope
to be
so.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not going to write it off completely. Like we've talked about, there is no bar to even set because we just simply don't know what it's about. And at this point, I'm almost more interested in just going in completely dark on it and
Yeah.
like what we know now and just hitting play and taking it as we go and not have to know anything and see how they explain everything in this
Mm-hmm.
world. And it's something, it's brand new. I know that's one
Yeah.
criticism that people have labeled at the series was they're putting their own stuff into this series that's already there. This is something that has nothing on it, so they can do whatever they want.
We can't
And
get
it
well
was.
actually.
You can't get well actually. Well, don't get. There's always going to be somebody that knows it. Somewhere in the depths of these books will be something mentioned that'll be like in there. But it's Declan DeBarra. He wrote he wrote the novella and episode Grain of Truth in season 2. And at this point, I'm just waiting.
I'm really excited. I'm
I
gonna
am
have to
too.
book the TV. I'm gonna be at my mum's house for Christmas, and the
You,
only thing that she wants to watch on Christmas Day is what previously would have been the Queen's, but the King's speech. So every year on Christmas Day, the Queen would do a
oh,
speech at like 2 o'clock or something.
not my
Um,
king. He's not coronated.
yeah,
I
well,
don't recognize an uncoronated king.
so I guess that'll be the King this year. But I'm gonna have to book some slots either side of the TV where my mum and my sister are gonna have to just
Well,
be quiet.
hopefully we'll be able to see them before.
Yeah, yeah, maybe one at
Hopefully.
least, one at least.
Yeah,
Please,
maybe one. At
Netflix.
least that one. That would be nice. So
Mm,
that's the latest on Blood Origin. We finally have a teaser. They're gonna have to drop an actual trailer. They're gonna have to sometime. Like
yeah, maybe
before
they'll
I
give it a couple more weeks.
yeah, maybe at the beginning of December or something. Again, they could be at this point, I think they're finalizing, like they're still finalizing everything. Like there's no doubt in my mind. They're
Oh
piecing all that
yeah,
post-production together.
for sure, for sure. I'm still so curious over the Christmas Day release, but like that's a whole other story.
That's like the 900th thing down my list of what I'm
Yeah.
curious about. The way that they've done this show combined with The Witcher season 3, or I guess you can say season 4 or 5 coming out.
Mhm.
It is a lot happening behind the scenes, but eventually we will get it before we know it. It will
Yeah,
be those weeks before Christmas and right before Christmas, and we will have seen Blood Origin, and we will obviously cover it on this feed as it goes down. So wait for that and wait for us to react to it as well.
I'm looking forward to it.
But today we are here to finish the game. Like this,
Pretty
this is
much,
I
yeah.
think technically what the finish is going to be, and then the endings will be like the epilogue
It's an epilogue, yeah.
and everything out of that, like the ending you get, and then the epilogue. So we are here for On Thin Ice and Ted Deireadh, the
Hmm.
final age. So Lucy, take it away.
Yeah, you're right. This is pretty much endgame now. We get a few big boss fights in here and a lot of story. So the first one is on thin ice, and this is going to start after last week's episode, which was battle preparations, which was kind of rounding up the last of the sorceresses and doing a few things with Avalok and whatnot. So we sail off to Undvik, which is where we're planning this big battle. And Avalok is explaining his plan to everyone. And he says it's simple. We're basically going to call the Naglfar here using the Sunstone, and then the sorceresses will trap them from leaving using magic. And then the Nilfgaardian ships are going to stop them from leaving the bay like a normal ship would. And then we just have to kill them. That's it. Easy, but not simple to execute. He's also very headstrong that he doesn't want Ciri to be involved at all. And this is one of those, you get quite a lot of dialogue options here, but regardless of your dialogue choices, he says it's all being done under his circumstances, and he doesn't want Ciri to be involved in the fight whatsoever. He says it's too great a risk.
Ciri does not agree with that.
No, yeah, and Geralt says that. He says something like, I imagine this wasn't your decision. She goes, no, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. And she kind of tries to get her way, but Avalok is very stubborn in saying, we're not doing this unless it's on my terms.
Yeah, we get an option to either agree with Avalok
Mm-hmm.
or, in a way, disagree. And if you do disagree, if you do agree with Avalok, Ciri's like, oh, I thought I could have your support. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
that might be just under a bad decision,
Yeah,
like a
exactly. Yeah, it's
fatal
almost like one
decision
of
there.
those timed ones. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it is very much you're getting these decisions where you either say Ciri's, big enough to make her own decisions, or you're still kind of babying her and saying you need to be kept away. But she's, as ever, she wants to be involved and she doesn't like people going out fighting for her. But yeah, he sends everyone off. All the sorceresses are there. Triss is there, Yennefer, Philippa. Who else is there? Margarita,
Fringilla,
Fringilla. Yes,
Vigo.
the whole gang's there. And they're ready to sort of use their powers and work together nicely as the lodge.
Philippa does not. I was about to say it's not. She does not suffer fools at all. And when
Yeah.
all this explaining is going on, when Geralt gets there, he's like, "Oh, you started without me." And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Now we're talking about stuff." Avalok saying, "We're talking about stuff you don't care about, like magic stuff."
Mm-hmm.
And you can still kind of prod and poke there, and eventually Yen is just like, "Geralt, enough. Like you have all these issues. Don't worry about it now." And then you keep doing this, and Philip was finally saying, "Okay, we need to do something. Like everyone, shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
sisters. We got to go." And then they like break apart there. It was like that's Philippa right there, saying,
Yeah.
"Let's go."
Let's just go. And they go and kind of, I think Avalok kind of tells them to almost line the cliffs, the
Yeah.
sorceresses. And he's going, you stand there, you stand there. And Yennefer just interrupts him and says, like, we know how to form a circle. Like, come on, like, you don't need to like baby us through this. So there's tensions are still there, but they're all gonna band together for this one final fight. Um, so at this point, you can go with Avalak straight away, or you can wander around and do some last bits of quests if you want to. Go and get your armor leveled up. But the end point and the point of no return in the quest is when you head down to the dock and speak with Avalak. And he and Ciri use the Sunstone, which calls the Naglfar. I keep going to say Nafalgar.
Nafalgar. Like he says, does he say Nagel Fair?
Yeah, he says it differently.
Yes.
So
He
I feel
says,
like
and
the elves always have their own wee accent and way of pronouncing things. Like he says Zirel. He says
yeah,
Nagelfair. But I think Geralt calls it Nagelfar.
yeah. It's
The
definitely
Nagelfar.
if you say it like phonetically, or no, phonetically is how you say it like
How
it
it
sounds.
looks.
It'd be
Yeah.
phonetically. Yeah. That'd be like Naglfar. But yeah, I guess Avalok just has to be difficult and different.
Yeah. Um, so the Sunstone is kind of like Ciri has to speak some kind of elder language into it, and Avalok says the story is something along the lines of reuniting two lovers, and Yennefer, or not Yennefer, Ciri makes a comment saying something like, "Oh, I would never have thought I would say this to Eredin," and
There it
she
is. Yeah.
she whispers it, and it kind of sets off some kind of magical entity being, whatever, and the Naglfar is summoned. They sort of answer the call and they arrive, and then the sorceresses do their thing, trap them, and it begins. And there was one line that Avalok says. He says, "Break a sword, Geralt," and I was like, "Why did he say that? Is that him like saying like break a leg? Like is that their version of break a leg? Like good luck?"
I never noticed this before
Neither did
until,
I.
and I didn't like it.
I didn't understand it. If that is what it's meant to be,
No,
like
that
break a
had
leg.
I think we understood it. I think it just I don't know. It seemed too. If anybody said it, I would kind of if Dandelion said it, I'd be
Hmm.
like, okay, that's Dandelion being dramatic and trying to, maybe thinking in his head, how can I compose this ballad?
Yeah.
But for Avalok to say it, that is not something
It was
Avalok
so not him, right?
Avalok throws in a pun,
Yeah.
break a sword, Geralt. Like, I don't know. I
Strange,
didn't
right?
yeah, I did not care for it. It was
Yeah.
weird.
Anyway, it was weird. So, the boats all show up and we see Caranthir, who, as we know, is the Wild Hunt navigator, and he uses his like staff or whatever to freeze everything. So Ciri makes a comment going, everything in there is completely frozen, like I'm going to help. They have a little bit of a back and forth as Avalok tries to forbid her from going in. And eventually he gives in and he says, you need to go and break the orb on the staff. So this is when we get to play as Ciri for a little bit for the last time in the game.
It's the last time I'm gonna be able, or last time we're really gonna talk about the Wild Hunt, because spoiler alert, they're all fucking dead by the
Yeah.
end of this. But God damn, I love their armor.
They're so
Like
cool. Yeah.
Caranthir's, and then especially Eridan's. It is so fucking
Yeah.
cool
They
and
look badass
imposing.
and scary.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sound design also on the ice is everything is crunching, like the
Mm-hmm.
metal is oh my god, like it was just so well done, the
Yeah.
design of the Wild Hunt, and to do this on this ice, as it's the white frost, they're the
Mm-hmm.
Wild Hunt, and then the black dark silver armor against the like
Yeah.
bright white ice was just so fucking good.
Yeah, because imagine this was just like in a normal dark area, that they wouldn't stand out as much. But you're right,
No,
on the
well,
ice, they properly
oh,
stand out.
completely. And it's like
Mm.
Imlerith. It's why Imlerith's fight to me was always just like it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
it's
yeah.
and just I think it was because where it was, and that this is just more, I don't want to just say it was more epic or anything like that, but just the sound of the crunching ice, and as they're moving over, and just the armor feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds that
Yeah,
they're
they're
lugging around.
massive.
They're just
Yeah.
that strong. Yeah, they're that big.
Yeah, they're definitely very imposing, intimidating. Like they're scary baddies, and especially when we get to the Eridan fight later, there's this one shot where it's like, okay, this is the big bad. Like he's the bad guy. And yeah, it's just so well done. But this is where we play as Ciri, and we have to get to Caranthir to sort of break this spell that he has. He's frozen everything. And it's worth noting here, because I didn't realize this in my first playthrough, that all of the enemies in this moment are just spawning indefinitely, and you don't have to kill all of them. You can just run past them, because I was killing every single wild hunt dog, every single warrior, and I was like, God, this is tough. It's like this is really hard, but they
That's
just
what
keep spawning.
happens when we were leaving um
Oh,
Crookback Bog.
yeah,
When we were
exact
escaping
same thing.
Crookback
Yeah.
Bog, I think on my replay, I just kept fighting and killing. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I looked up, I literally did it for, I swear to God, it was minutes.
Yeah.
And then I looked up and it said escape from Crookback Bog. I was like, oh fuck,
We
we just
don't
have to
have to kill
leave.
these. Yeah.
We don't have to kill them.
Exactly. So we get to Caranthir. It's the map opens up into this large icy area, perfect boss battle arena, and the fight with Caranthir begins. And fighting as Ciri is kind of easy. She kind of one shots all the other enemies completely. She's just slicing them in half. It's super easy. Um, as long as you can get your hits onto Caranthir, it's pretty simple as well. You can use your teleporting and stuff. It's a pretty cool fight, because he does all of that as well. But once you get him down to about a third of his health, the cutscene triggers, and Ciri breaks the orb on his staff, and everyone starts to thaw out. Most importantly, Geralt starts to thaw
Yeah.
out. And whatever Ciri does to explode this orb kind of knocks her back, and she ends up teleporting herself away. So you then continue the fight against Caranthir, playing as Geralt again. Um, and that's he calls in kind of like the ice elementals and stuff, and it's quite a cool boss fight. He does, you have to learn his patterns and stuff. It's a bit more in depth than some of the fights and combat you get into in this game. You do have to kind of take your time with it a little bit. But again, once you get his HP, his health down far enough, another cutscene will trigger, where Geralt kills Caranthir, but in his last attempt to bring Geralt down with him, Caranthir will teleport them both deep under the water. So you have,
Caranthir, he had those ice elementals that
yeah.
were very Elden Ring like.
Oh
The
yeah.
the Korea swords, is that what it was? The Korea
Oh,
man
I
of
can't remember.
swords, or whatever they were. The blue swords I know that you could
Mm-hmm.
use, that were kind of like a defensive thing. As soon as I saw those, I was like, oh, that reminds me of the Elden Ring magic
Yeah.
that they had there.
I can't wait to play Witcher 3 again and like talk about Elden Ring the whole way through, because all the way through my Elden Ring playthrough, I'm like, oh, that's like Witcher.
It's like The Witcher. The combat is going to
Mm.
be
Oh God, yeah.
interesting. See,
I
that's what
know.
initially Ghost of Tsushima is what like broke me on like the Witcher combat. The combat in Ghost of
Oh,
Tsushima was so fucking good. Like it
is
was the
it?
best. Oh my god! Like I'm enjoying like the first God of War that I'm playing now.
Yeah.
But like Tsushima was basically, they would have a certain like guard, and you'd have to break that a certain way, or you weren't going to break it, and certain
Right, okay.
attacks, certain timings to do. And it's very different from even Elden Ring, where it was more or less, it was strategic in the fighting that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so going from that to The Witcher 3, when it's just smash, 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 maybe do some kind of breakthrough in art to do it, was a lot harder to do. So yeah, I
Yeah.
imagine, and that's kind of the same thing with God of War right now.
Hmm.
I'm fighting certain bosses in a way like Elden Ring, where
Yeah.
it's a certain way to dive, make sure you get around them. but I don't think they have the like the little second of invincibility you get with the rolls, like you can roll
Yeah,
through things. So that kind of I'm like,
the
okay, I can't do that anymore.
iframes.
Is that what they're
That's what
called?
they are. Yeah, I I remember when I was doing Elden Beast, everyone was like, just iframe him. And I was like, bitch, what the fuck does that
What the
mean? I don't know
fuck
what
are
that
you
means.
talking
And
about?
they were like, you've been doing it for 200 hours of your gameplay. How do you not know? I'm like,
You've been doing it since April.
yeah, how do you not know what iframes is?
I didn't know. I just was. It was the roll, like
Yeah, so
the
iframes
invincibility
is where
roll,
you have that half a second
invincibility
where even if,
frames.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly, even if their swords swing through you,
Yeah,
you,
the
you don't get
dodge
hit
roll.
because
Okay.
it's iframes, whatever the fuck that
Iframes.
means.
Well, now I know
Exactly.
when we're done.
I know, and we've both finished the game. God. Um, so yeah, Caranthir sinks and we have to swim to the surface. This is one of those bits in the game that is very claustrophobic feeling. You can make it to the top, but there's lots of debris you have to kind of swim around.
And
Um,
always panic, pure panic when this happens. This
it's
is the
horrible,
second
isn't
time they've
it?
done this too. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
they've thrown
it's
you and
not
you have to
nice.
go up. Yeah.
But you make it to the top, of course, and you see Siri kind of scrambling away from some enemies, and then somebody, I don't know who, possibly Croc on Crate, I don't
Yeah.
know exactly though, crashes their boat completely into the side of the Naglfar, and Siri manages to get away, and it's time for us to go after the big bad. So this is another one of those run, 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 and you have to run so far past several enemies. You'll also run past Udalric and Hjalmar on your way.
Yes.
You don't really get much of a chance to speak to them. I think you can ask them where Siri is in like as a passing comment, but there's no time for proper dialogue or anything. Um, and this is a great moment. We get to the Naglfar and we see Crack on Crate fighting Eredin. And I had completely forgotten about this scene. I
Did
totally
you?
forgot. I totally forgot about it.
The main
Um,
reason I remember it is one, he has his massive rings on.
does it?
And he has his huge rings on, and I'm always just like, I guess he could do that. And I remember him punching the ground when he punches the floor of the ship. I was just like, would that hurt his fingers? And
Maybe.
also his completely shitty level one axe that he's fighting with. It's like, crack. You were the fucking Jarl. You're the
Yeah.
leader of this. You gave Geralt at one point, or depending on, I guess, if you do it or not,
Oh
the like
yeah.
on crate family sword or whatever. And it's like, dude's out here rocking what a fucking peasant wouldn't pick up to
Yeah.
chop his wood with. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
upgrade that shit. Maybe that's why you got murked by the fucking king of the wild hunt here.
Exactly. And we can already see that the Jarl is incredibly badly injured and Eredin is just messing with him. He just hands him back his axe and he's like, come on, let's keep fighting. Like he just wants
Any
to do
last
exactly. And
words?
he says
Oh,
something like, shut up and fight.
shut up and fight.
And we don't see it, but we hear it. Eredin just cuts the Jarl down in one final blow, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Like you hear it a
You hear
lot.
it, yes, and you see the kind of
The
aftermath, but
blood
you don't
splurt.
see
Yeah.
it. Um, and yeah, that's the end of old Crack on Crate. So it's a good job we set up the succession earlier in the
Yeah.
game.
Or if we didn't do it, then it got done.
It got done for
It
you,
got done
yeah.
on its own. Yeah.
It did. Um, and here's the moment, really, the big moment. Eredin takes off his mask and his voice is a lot less. Wait, I'm gonna do a double negative there. I was gonna say it's a lot less low.
Whoa.
It's a lot, it's not as low. His voice
It's
is not as low.
higher
It's higher.
pitched?
Yeah. I don't want to say higher because it makes it sound like he's like, Geralt. But he's
No,
not.
yeah,
It's just
it's
it's
not
like a
high
Darth Vader
pitched.
thing where his
Yes,
voice is
but it
much
is
deeper.
his voice is still just creepily low.
It
And that
is.
is one thing I'd want to know is that modulated in any way, or is it has to be
Mm,
some, I think it would be, but maybe they just found somebody who just has that natural low
that's so
kind of thing that
good.
he's able to do.
Well,
And just yes, just
interestingly,
Witcher.
this weekend, Geralt, Doug Cockle, is at Comic Con in Birmingham with, I can't remember his name, forgive me, the man who voiced Eredin. They're going to be sitting on a table together, and Doug tweeted out something like, we're going to be having donuts and coffee, come say hi. And
And
I was
you're
like,
not
I'm not
going.
going. If I was not busy every day this weekend, I would be there. Doug,
Is
I would be
Birmingham too
there.
far for you? What is it, like 6, 7 hours?
No.
I know, I'm joking. What's it like, 2 or 3, like 3 hours?
It would be like a 3 hour drive, yeah.
Okay.
Which is doable. Not in my car. I would probably get the train down. Um, but
Your
I
car
am
can't go 3 hours?
well, I wouldn't my car is very old, Brett, and I would just be a bit worried that I wouldn't make it back.
There is no way your car is older than mine. What year is your car?
2004.
Oh shit. Never mind. Mine's a '07. Okay. But
My
you'd
car is a
also,
old bitch.
how often do you drive though?
Well, not very much anymore because I only go to the
Okay.
office
Yeah.
twice a week and I live really close to my office now.
Yeah.
So I only, whereas previously I was driving a lot and also I used to share my car with somebody as well. So it used to be doing a lot
Oh,
more
okay.
miles than it does now. But it's fine. My car is absolutely fine. I
Yeah.
absolutely adore my car as well. I've had it since I was 16.
Man.
Um, so I'm very emotionally attached to it, and there's actually nothing wrong with it. But it has had issues in the past that would put me off doing long distance in it, just in
Okay.
case.
See, I've got, and again, it's very, very, very different. England in like a
Yeah.
suburb where I'm at. Like all we
Yeah.
do is fucking drive here. And mine's a Prius. So mine is made to drive. And I
Yeah.
like drive. I've only filled up the gas 3 times since the beginning of August.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I live close by to work, everything do kind of around here. And I get,
Yeah.
35, 40 miles in the city and 50, 55 on the highway.
Hmm.
And I live right by a highway. So everything's good there. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's also the distance, like you said there, like 3 hours is like from here to Austin, and it's nothing. Like
Yeah.
if someone said 3 hours, they'd be like, oh shit, yeah, let's go. Not like a daily thing, obviously.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
if it was like a weekend thing, it'd be like, oh, 3 hours, that's nothing. That's a day trip.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
nothing in there. So I guess,
Oh, a
but
normal
all,
car I would, but like it's just I
how long would a train take you?
the
Like
train,
by train?
well, the train to Birmingham is it's a bit slower. For example, I can get a train to London in 2 hours 45 minutes, but the train to Birmingham is
Dang.
not direct. It's a little bit slower, so it'd probably be about three
Oh,
hours to
okay.
3 hours to Birmingham, I
Hey,
think,
you can get to London in 3 hours.
in less than 3 hours. Yeah.
I get depressed every few months, and I just saw another one of plans for like a theoretical high speed rail in the US connecting like certain major
Ah,
hubs.
that'd be so
And I
cool.
saw one that connected North Texas to like Central Texas down Austin and then going
Mhm.
east all through like
Oh,
New Orleans and through all the way to Florida up to Atlanta. And I just look at something like that and think if I could get to Austin, because the ones they do is Austin's a 3 hour drive
yeah.
and everything they have on there is like 30, 45 minutes.
That
The
would
high
be
speed rail that they'd be able
insane.
to
Like,
do
how
that.
many people's lives that would change?
Like you would literally be exactly, you literally be able to live here and
Yeah, and you could
commute
commute.
to a job 3 hours away. And then
Mm-hmm.
just to go see things, like I said, there's a massive football games. TCU, Texas is this weekend. It'll be 2 days before anybody hears this.
Mm.
And to think you can just jump on that, not just to go to the game, but just go to Austin and hang
Yeah,
out around there because
just
of
for
this
the
big
day
game,
or the
just for the
evening.
fucking day. But we can't have nice things. That's y'all's public transportation. Fucking Amsterdam's public
Oh my God,
transportation.
Amsterdam was like
Oh
next
my,
level.
that's the thing. When other European people are just like, man, this is so good and so nice. I'm like, holy shit, this
Yeah.
must be top of the line because
Hmm.
it's better than anything we fucking have here.
Especially when we weren't paying it for half the time.
Half the time, I never paid it. That was not on purpose. They did not have a place to pay.
No, it
For anyone
wasn't on
thinking we jumped the
purpose.
trains, I could not pay
We
on my
did
phone.
we did jump the trains, but we didn't know how to pay.
Oh, 100%. We jumped the trains. Okay. I would have paid. I tried to pay. I showed
I
people
tried to
that I
pay.
could not pay.
Hmm.
So,
And I
but
went
no,
up to the
thank
front and spoke to the woman and was like, "Can I pay?" And she was just like, "Just get on." And I was like, "I'm beeping my phone because the tube in London, you can just beep your phone or your contactless card
yeah,
to enter the
that's,
tube." So I thought that's what people were doing, and mine was just going, eh. And I was like, "Oh, it's
yep.
just because my phone isn't from here." But
And I
yeah,
tried to buy a card outside of it. Couldn't do it.
yeah,
Wouldn't work.
it wasn't that
And
easy. I think somebody else
no,
bought me one eventually, but I was happy
no.
jumping the
I was just,
trains.
I was just getting on. And if anybody talked to me, I'd be like, huh, I'm not from around here. And they're like, oh,
Yeah,
this fucking yokel, some goddamn American.
yeah, you can get
They
away
just
with that pretty easy.
roll their eyes and like, I'm not fucking talking to this
Yeah,
dude.
they'd just leave you alone at that point.
Pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, Aradin,
How did we
the
get
look of,
there?
I don't know. We'll pull it back though. Something about crack. I don't remember. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, Eridan's design, his voice is fucking awesome. As we're about to fight, he just, and again, something like this would be very cliched and something I'd usually be like, oh, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
he puts the mask on and his voice gets deeper. The
Mm-hmm.
fucking sword he has is awesome. And then it's go time. The big bad, the king of the wild hunt,
Yeah,
Eridan Breakglass.
it is. And before he does that, he tells Geralt that he has something to tell him,
Mm,
but he's going to wait until after the fight. He
okay,
says, I've got something
that's
important to tell you.
that's. I know it's a game,
Mm-hmm.
but what if you fucking chop his head off? What if you stab him through the heart? Then do
Yeah.
you try to like wake him up and be like, no, I haven't told you
I have to
yet.
tell you the,
That part
tell you
right
the
there, I just
important
was
thing.
like, okay.
This is
I know
corny. Yeah.
it's corny. It's very good though dramatically because then you're like,
Yeah.
ooh,
I need to
what is he
know.
gonna say?
Yes.
So it's very good drama from that aspect.
Oh, yeah. And then he continues to taunt Geralt, saying, oh, show me your pirouettes. I've heard all about these pirouettes. You need to tell me, you need to show me them. But
I think he might be taunting the player. That might be a
yeah,
fourth wall
yeah,
break.
yeah. But it is, he seems to be enjoying this fight as much, he was giving Crack his axe back, saying, come on, let's go. He obviously wants to tell Geralt something, so even though he's going to fight, he's going to keep him alive until he has the chance to tell him. So this is all a bit of fun for him at this point. But yeah, so the fight it's difficult, it's tricky. It's not the most difficult in the game, but it's definitely tricky. And him teleporting all over the place kind of makes him tricky to lock onto and stuff. After a bit of fighting, he kind of grabs Geralt and throws you through a portal into this icy open boss arena.
Boss arena is the
Yeah,
way to
that's what it
describe it
is. Yeah.
perfectly.
It's just this big open area that if you were to walk into in Elden Ring, you'd immediately be suspect. You'd be like, what's
Yep.
happening? Well, who's
Just like,
coming
ah,
out
here we
here?
go. Something's happening here. Might fighting
Yeah.
two or three bosses.
Yeah, exactly. But after a bit of fighting on the icy boss arena, he runs back through a portal to the Naglfar, and you have to run after him to finish the fight. And in the end, Geralt performs a perfect pirouette and pokes one of Eridan's eyes out, which is pretty gruesome. And Eridan is kind of admitting defeat. Geralt kicks away his sword and he says, what did you want to tell me? And Eridan reveals that they've both been tricked by Avalok, and Avalok has supposedly set them against each other, and he's made off with Ciri.
Tricked by a fox. No.
Oh.
How? It's so poetic there. I
Mm-hmm.
was actually kind of disappointed that this really wasn't the case.
Mm.
I still don't believe, I guess we can get to it in about 4 seconds over here after the next one. But I still don't believe that Avalok tricked Geralt, did he? Like,
I don't know, because even Geralt at this moment, he's like, I don't believe you. Like,
well, yeah,
you're
because
saying this. Yeah.
Eridan wanted Ciri,
Yeah.
and then Geralt wanted to help Ciri. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Geralt wasn't trying to get Ciri for his own, Eridan trying to get Ciri for his own, and Avalok threw in a third option.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. When I heard that, I was like, oh, I remember when I first heard it, I was like, oh shit, okay, what's gonna happen now? But it doesn't. Avalok didn't. I don't believe Avalok tricked Geralt.
No, I don't think he did. They had their other plan that they haven't been quite as open about, but I don't think it was a
Yeah.
trick. It wasn't like he hasn't been deceived at this point.
Well, he misled. Yeah,
Yeah,
you kind of
yeah.
start getting into what it is, but yeah, you're right. They did get misled
Hmm.
by what's to come.
Yeah. So Eridan dies, or does he? I mean, I didn't see a sword decapitate him or anything,
He
so
stopped talking, which
he
you think
stopped
he'd want to keep
talking.
talking.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, honestly, when I was rewatching this, I got to thinking, it's one of the things when you watch enough TV, you watch enough movies, you start to think of what you can do to try to get out of a real life situation. One thing is always faking a death. And
Yeah.
here, as Eridan is talking, yes, if he was like, okay, maybe I can last a few more minutes, but I have to get rid of Geralt who's going to kill me. If he just stops talking and goes like that,
Hmm.
maybe Geralt won't chop his head off. Maybe Geralt will just walk away.
Yeah.
So I don't think that happened. Eridan's fucking dead. But I
Eridan's
did think
coming
that might
back
be
in Witcher 4. You heard it here first.
wouldn't that be something if the only person that comes back is like a rehash of the
It's
Wild Hunt? How
Eridan.
mad would people
I
get if
know.
the only thing they brought back was the Wild Hunt? And then, well, I guess that's true. I almost made a mistake that a lot of people make, where it's like ultimately the Wild Hunt was not the big bad of the game. It was
Yeah.
always Ciri's story, and it was always Deireadh, which we're about to talk about now. So, but that
Mm-hmm.
would be, I would like to see more Wild Hunt, which is why, and I think I've said this before. Like I know I've talked about the Witcher D&D campaign that I ran, that I
Oh
DM'd.
yeah, yeah.
I did have Wild Hunt people in there that got stuck at this time, and there was
Oh.
3 of them, and they were going to end up being the big bad. In reality, no, because there's always going to be a twist, but it was going to be
Yes.
seen as them as the big bad. And I just love the idea of it. And one was like it was a like female Wild Hunt like leader, and I'm like
Yeah.
they didn't show any of those, so that'd be kind of cool. So that
Mm-hmm.
was like the big bad that I had. Was that because the Wild Hunt's just badass?
Oh, that would have been cool.
It's one of the things from The Witcher season 2 that I loved was the Wild Hunt and that
Yeah.
introduction and how they did it. Like, still to me, that was like the best moment and
They
almost the
were
best thing they did.
scary. They were
They
scary
were.
in that moment. It was like, oh
They were.
shit.
I hope
Like,
they super lean on them coming up
yeah.
and they make them a bigger thing than they were in the books, because they really weren't
Oh,
that
really?
big. They weren't big until the final book. They were big in
Right.
the final book, but there was never, spoiler alert, they never fought the Wild Hunt in the books. It was
Mm-hmm.
always who we saw in the King, Oberon and Aridin and Avalok. Those are from the books, and they did run into Ciri before, as they've talked about in the game.
Yeah. Aye, that's interesting. Um, so what happens in the end of this? Eridan maybe dies, definitely dies. And the hounds of the Wild Hunt are starting to close in. Yennefer appears and pulls Geralt through a portal and saves him, which is nice. It's nice to get her in the end there. I think it's always Yennefer who does that, regardless of who you romance as well. This is a
Yeah.
Geralt and Yen moment, and the next quest is a Geralt and Yen quest for the first part anyway. And that is where On Thin Ice concludes, and we move over into Ted Derad, which I think is Elder or Elven for the final age. Is
This
it?
is it.
This
I
is it.
believe so. It's the end.
Yeah.
I know it's the end of the world, or what they call it. Yeah, Ted Deireadh, the
Yeah.
finality. But yeah,
Yeah, Yennefer makes a comment saying this is not Ragnarok, which is interesting considering the game that's just come out this week, God of War Ragnarok. I haven't played it. I don't think you'll be playing it either because we do not have PlayStation 5s.
well, I have a PlayStation 4, and I could
Does it
play
play
it.
on PlayStation
It
4?
does.
Okay.
Mine is old.
Mm.
It's loud enough
Oh
that
no, I can't be dealing with them sounding like they're going to take off.
I'm pretty sure if I try to play it, it might just blow up. And I still use it to watch TV on.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Don't risk it.
I'll wait for the PC. But
Hmm.
Ragnarok is the Skelligan term that is like Ragnarok. It's obviously
Yeah.
taken from Ragnarok. It's the end of the world, or the last stage, when Hemdall and Camby, Hemdall
No,
has to slay the golden cock,
our favorite
Camby.
Gwent card.
I know, but then it got too popular. They made a new card,
Mm.
Compass, some kind of compass. I can't remember what it was. I haven't played Gwent in a long time, but they made a card called Compass where you can create a Skelligan legendary that was not in your starting deck. So then people started cambying because they weren't playing Camby,
Oh,
but they'd be leading in the last card and they'd use this card and just create Camby. So then for a brief moment there, Camby was almost meta and was so
was
widely
it?
used, because I just remember getting a bunch of messages like it's about Camby. I'm like, oh fuck, did they buff Camby? I was like, no, they just made a card that everybody's playing Camby, and I was like, oh, that's not as
That was your
cool.
thing for so long, wasn't it? Can be.
That was my thing for about 3 to 4 months, and then the game got super power crept, and eventually I could not take Camby, my homebrewed Camby, to pro, and then I bailed. And now I just do Skellige Warriors when I play, because the
Yeah.
Skellige is just fun.
Skellige
I
is
don't
fun.
it isn't. I don't even like purple, but for some reason, purple on the Gwent cards
Mm.
are like really fucking good. I think I just like the voices, and they're just a bunch of pirates and
Yeah.
warriors, and just hearing those Northern Irish taste
Hmm.
Skellige steel,
Hmm.
Skelliger,
For
all that fun stuff.
Skellige. Yeah, it's very good.
Or yeah,
I haven't played
Skellige.
Gwent in a long time, so
You owe 1v1s.
I do. I'm gonna do that, I think next week. We'll talk about our stream
Oh,
next
that's
week, once we've
fuck. We really
finished. I
yes.
need to
Wait,
plan that.
this is gonna be the next episode before that comes out.
Yeah.
We're so we are so bad at planning things.
We're honestly, we're like We are definitely peas from the same pod in terms of like organization and planning,
We
which
do
is good
just
because it works.
between us, we do enough for one person and one podcast. But no, we 100%, if you're listening to this on Monday or sometime during the week of release, we are 100% doing a very long. Lucy will get started because I have softball practice. I'm playing
Yeah.
softball again, or we'll see what happens. And we're going to do a super long 1 year anniversary stream on her Twitch. We're gonna play a bunch of different things. We're definitely gonna play some Gwent. Definitely gonna play some.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna try to get it together. Some Elden Ring co-op,
Yes.
and Warzone 2 should be out by
Oh
then.
shit, yes, because Warzone 2 comes out on the 16th, which I think is Wednesday. So as long as it
Yes,
downloads in time for Saturday, because it's a fucking beefy game, we'll be able to play it.
we'll play that. So come hang out there in that chat. We're a lot of drinks, a lot of fun,
Mm-hmm.
celebrating the end of this game basically at 1 year. How perfect is that?
How perfect is that actually? How well
Abso-fucking-lutely
timed is
perfect.
that? Because I think we'll probably, before the stream, we'll have recorded the finale or
Oh,
like the
you're
something
right.
ends, something
The
begins. So
finals,
yeah, we'll
yes.
have recorded that, but it won't have been released yet. Um, but how perfect is that? That's actually
That is.
crazy. The first episode that we released was the 19th of November last year. Not including what do you call the wolf thing? Nightmare of
Nightmare
the
of the
Wolf.
Wolf. That was the
Uh,
last Whispers of Oxenford
yeah,
episode.
yeah. So
Yeah.
1 year since the first on the path. And yeah, it's just timed up kind of perfectly. How weird.
Perfect. Yep. So make sure to check that out on Saturday. But before we finish the game, let's finish this mission.
Deireadh. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but basically, Yennefer pulls us through this portal, and absolute chaos has ensued. And it appears as though a conjunction of the spheres has begun. That might be what Blood Origin is about, but we don't know. And it seems as though Eredin was right about Avallac'h. We can see this tower, which they call Tor Gvalcha, possibly. I'm not very good at Elven speech, but and something is shooting up from the tower, and Geralt and Yen are basically just trying to get there to hunt down Avallac'h. At the moment, we sort of think Avallac'h is the big bad. All of a sudden, it's kind of like the last series of Game of Thrones. It's just changing every other second who the
it's
bad
it's
guy is.
it's ending super quick too. It is boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. Like
Oh
it's
shit.
just
Oh shit.
super, super rush to the end here.
Yes, so we're literally running, and my favorite thing about Yennefer when she runs is it's not running, but it's kind of like, you know, when like women kind of like power walk really quickly, but it's not quite running. She's never in a rush, even in these moments.
She's not in full. They're boots, but they got
Oh
some
yeah,
heels on them.
yeah. She's dressed impeccably as always. But at one point you're on horses and she just is so erratic. You have to kind of keep your distance behind her because she will lead you
Super
into like
cuts. Yeah.
impending doom wherever you go. But you're running, and then she will create a barrier to protect you from the white frost. And eventually, once you get close to this tower, Avallac'h has made this massive barrier around it, and Yennefer is able to make a hole big enough just for Geralt to get through, but not her. And I love this line when Geralt realizes that Yen won't be able to come with him, he turns to her and he goes, "I'll come back with Ciri," and she just goes, "I know." And I was like, "Oh, I just love them together." And this moment, if you hadn't romanced Yen in this moment, I know you'd just be kicking yourself. Like they're meant to be together, in my
Or
opinion.
cognitive dissonance for the Triss choosers.
Mm.
But this will be a good thing to bring up. We had it at the end there to talk about. We can talk about it now. We got a message on
Mm.
Twitter, I
We
believe,
did, yes. I
that
forgot to reply to it
yeah,
actually.
that said, just a quick note. I've noticed or maybe misinterpreted. Do you guys dislike the paternal feelings? This is Dens from Twitter. Do you dislike the paternal feelings Yen and Geralt have towards Ciri? I feel every time Ciri has to make a decision with the Lodge or Emir, you guys don't want Yen or Geralt involved in any way. I get that she's grown up, but I find the sometimes overprotectiveness from the two endearing. In addition, I don't think Ciri has to face the fire alone, even if it's her birthright. And again, interesting take right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily, and I'll speak for me, I don't necessarily dislike it, but at the same time, as what Siri is literally about to say,
Yeah.
that the whole point of this game is to treat Ciri like an adult. Long story short, is to treat Ciri like an adult. That this is her story.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Witcher book saga. It is her story. He says, you must let me finish telling it.
Yeah.
That's why every time we say it, and again, because we have to go over this with a fine tooth comb, because we do episodes over it, every time it comes up, we have to beat the dead horse that
Yeah.
we've said at least 5 times, because those are the 5 major decisions,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely more than that. So I would say it's not that I dislike it. I just think the whole point of this is to have Ciri do this on her own. She wants to do it on her own. She's an adult. It's her story. Let her do it on her own.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think where that's come across that we dislike it is probably because sometimes when we mention it, we're like, okay, here it is again. Like, don't do this, don't do that, because it happens quite often, especially towards the end of the game when you're getting all those big important decisions. But I totally find it endearing as well. I love that they're, especially Yennefer, is like a protective mom, and Geralt's got that fatherly he is that fatherly figure towards Ciri. But yeah, like Brett said, the whole point of the game is like to get the good ending, you have to let her be her own person, and that's the whole point of it. So, yeah, good place to pull that in there.
But a big thing also is, believe it or not, we don't have children.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see where if somebody's playing this game, especially if it is a young adult, if it's a guy playing the game and they have a young adult daughter, or a daughter who's anywhere from 15 to 18, maybe about to go to college or go off to wherever,
Mm-hmm.
they can definitely play this with their own kid in mind,
Oh God,
and
yeah.
thinking about maybe they need to let go or maybe not doing it. So I can definitely see where some other people take two, where some other people can maybe put their projections of themselves onto it, because we always do that when we play games. Certain things hit us
Oh,
harder
absolutely.
because God of War is another one. Both of us have
Oh,
played. Lucy's played God of War.
yeah.
I've been about halfway through it right now, and the game is just like, it's okay, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time,
There's bits
I
that
have had
hit.
yes, and I've had very good relationships with my parents, with my mom and my dad. I can imagine a guy out there playing that game who maybe had a single father, who maybe if their mother died young
Yeah.
and they had to deal with all this stuff, they can maybe play through this game and their emotions where I didn't have that. So it's obviously going to hit those people much harder than it would hit me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point actually, because we were talking earlier about how like we've both played God of War and it hasn't hit us as much as a lot of people go on about, it's game of the year, blah blah blah. But it didn't grab either of us as much as we thought it would, I don't think. And maybe that's why. Maybe the people that really love it really, really relate to the story.
Yeah, because that was the same year as Red Dead too, right?
Yeah, that's what I always think of when I think of like I enjoyed God of War and it was great, but to think that it beat Red Dead 2 to
Yeah,
Game of the Year, that doesn't sit well with me.
not, I mean, not me at all.
I'm
And
not
to
saying
me,
I can relate to Arthur Morgan. I can't in any way, but I just
maybe,
love the story. So you probably
um,
can a little bit.
yeah,
You're not
just
a
and obviously I'm
bandit.
not a killer or an outlaw, no, but like just the American, the Western
Yeah,
aspect
yeah,
of it. But it's another thing too. It's what I hate about award shows when you compare art and you
yeah.
make art compete against each other and you say this piece of art is
It's
better than this
better.
other
Yeah.
one. Because how can you have a game like Red Dead 2 that is completely open world, that by all intents purposes the main story is twice as long? It's probably
Hmm.
40 hours, where God of War, everything I've seen, is like about 20.
Yeah, it's pretty
And God
linear
of War,
also.
yes, and God of War is a very linear game. And it's obviously much more on the combat, where Red Dead is mainly on a story and exploration. And so those two games, you should not even compare them. They shouldn't
Yeah.
even be competing against each other. And we're seeing it now with Elden Ring. And
Yeah.
before God of War Ragnarok comes out, everyone's like, oh, it's going to be game of the year. It's going to be game of the year. It's like, you haven't even fucking played it. Like,
Hmm.
but to compare God of War to Elden Ring, how it's just, I
So
don't know.
different,
Just,
isn't it? Like
it
it's
is.
completely different.
And what I try to do, because I got caught up with that with Oscars when I was super into movies like 10,
Mm.
15 years ago, and I'd get upset when my favorite movie didn't win Best Picture. And now it's just with award shows. Does the game you like win? Cool. Clap for it. Be happy. If it doesn't win, whatever. It's
Yeah.
not a personal attack on you. It doesn't mean that you like that game more and then your opinion means less because it did not win it. It's just a dumb fucking award that the only people should care about those awards are the people up for them, because it matters to them as recognition. But to us, just enjoy the damn game and enjoy whatever recognition it
Yeah.
gets.
It doesn't take away anything from the game if it doesn't win the award. You've still enjoyed it. You've still spent however many hundreds of hours playing it, and it's still
Still
meant a
good,
lot to you. Yeah, it's still good. Yeah, of course.
and it'll still be there.
Exactly. Exactly. Where did we get to in the
We've
story?
gotten sidetracked like
I
twice. I
know.
think. Okay, so we've already talked about how Siri has said that it's her story, not yours. Let me finish telling it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is when
You
we actually arrive up to the tower, and Geralt. First of all, Geralt, goes to fight Avalok, and Avalok immediately throws down his sword and says, "You've got this wrong. This was all Ciri's idea. She intends to face the White Frost." And there's several dialogue options here. None of them matter in terms of your decision. Your decision is locked in. Your fate is decided at this point.
already done.
Completely done. There's 4 or 5 different dialogue options with everything that Siri says here, but like I said, it's locked in. Doesn't matter what you say. But Siri will go on about, regardless of what you say, Siri will go on about how it's only her that can defeat the White Frost. She has seen worlds destroyed by this ice, and only Elder Blood can face it. And some of the dialogue options are really sad. Geralt will be like, please just don't do this to me. Like, please just leave with me now. And she's like, no, like this, I have to do this. I have to do this to save everyone. I don't want this world to end. And yeah, you're right. She says, this is the final thing. This is my story, not yours. And you must let me finish telling it. And then I just wrote underneath, is this what Freya Allen has said to Henry Cavill? Bye, Henry. This is my story now.
I I want to tell all book. I want to. Game of Thrones had somebody from, I think it was Entertainment Weekly. I have the book somewhere that was with them for the final season, like embedded with them, and wrote this book on. It's not a tell-all book, it's just behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And man, I know Netflix would never put it out.
No.
It's like, please, I just want to know. I just want to know what's going on, because it's so easy right now to just take his word for it and
Oh,
be like, oh,
yeah.
writer's bad, creator bad, blah, blah, blah. This isn't it. It's so easy just to do that because we're not hearing their point of view, because
Exactly.
they can't talk about it, nor should they talk about it. And even a lot of stuff that Henry Cavill has said has stoked the fires
Yeah.
of fans that has not made things better. Like, I fully expected him to just say, didn't have the time. I have other things. Like, it's fine. Like, you have
Yeah.
Superman, you have all this other stuff. Just say, other stuff has come up I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually like say things, that does that, combined with what Bo DeMayo said before,
Yeah.
it's almost like this is purposely being done to do it. And it's not good. I just don't think anything good is really going to come out of it, because now it's just like we're firmly in the toxic bin. And I
Yeah.
just don't know how it ever gets out of it.
No, it will be weird for sure. And it's just like you said, he could easily just be like, this is the reason, and make it not dramatic at all.
Yeah.
But it's like they've purposefully went out of their way to make to rile up the fans.
Yeah.
Maybe they're
And
just doing it for exposure. I don't know, to get people excited about things. I mean, we're
I
talking
mean,
about it still, so
yeah. And like I said, we're guilty of being like, yeah, give us that drama. Because
oh yeah,
it's
we love it.
interesting.
We love it.
It is interesting, but I've unfollowed all of the Witcher Reddits,
Have
Netflix
you?
Witcher Reddit. Oh, I can't deal with that
I've
fucking
never
shit.
been a Reddit person, so I
I've
don't go on
I'm
it.
a Here's the thing. Reddit can be there. Certain things can be the greatest thing. It can be the
Mm.
funniest thing. It can be thoughtful. It can be interesting. The House of the Dragon subreddit, as of right now, as of November 10th,
Yeah.
2022, is good. It's a good mix of memes. It's a good mix of people saying, what do you think about this? There's good spoiler chat. Something like Free Folk. You've heard of Free Folk, right?
I've heard you mention it, I think, but I've never been
Okay.
on it.
That was the best fucking place of Reddit that I loved about 6 some odd years ago. It was all
Yeah.
Bobby B memes. It was all junk. It
Oh.
was where leaked episodes went. We do not kneel, all that. And it turned into the biggest toxic shithole towards
No.
the end of Game of Thrones, to where even now I can't go back, because it just became full of fans who are fans because they hate something.
Yeah, which is
And it's
never
just like
good.
such a fucking waste of time.
Oh,
And there's no
honestly.
doubt in my mind, based on the couple of threads that I saw, the popular ones from our Netflix Witcher, all that, that place is just going to turn into fucking dorks ranting and raving. And I'm like, I just don't fucking care to hear that shit.
Yeah, it's not good for anyone involved. And like, especially if you're one of the people that doesn't want to hate on it all the time, like there's just no arguing with these people. And there's just
Yeah.
no point. It's just like shouting at a brick wall.
Just stop watching. And like
Yeah.
that's the thing. Or just like rant to your friends or don't rant out. Like just do it to people in a thread or something like that. Like don't throw it into the wild and just there's no point. It doesn't help anything. It doesn't add to anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So just make a podcast instead.
Yeah. Well, again, we're never gonna like go into that. Like, why would people want to hear that shit?
I know. It's not nice to listen to. I don't find it
No,
pleasant to read. It doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't make you think
no.
about
And like that's
things.
what I
So
do. I don't even type a big thing out saying you should blah blah blah. No, I just hit leave
yeah, see
and
yeah.
I'm out. I'm
Yeah, there
done.
was no talking, so it's better just to forget about it, walk away, and be done with it.
Done.
Um, we've got one more bullet point to do. We can get through it without being sidetracked.
Keep getting distracted.
So this is my story, not yours. You must let me finish telling it, Brett. When Siri enters the gate, when Siri enters the gate, she's transported to this icy place, the White Frost, and she starts having flashbacks of the key decisions that you've made throughout the game, kind of throughout the last hour or so of the game, which have determined her fate and sealed your ending. And that is where the game ends.
That's it. So next time we will go into all the endings and you will visit the bad ending for the first time.
Oh, I feel like I should maybe record my live reaction to that
Oh, that's a good idea.
because I've never ever seen it. I've seen the other ones and I've never even caught a wee snippet of the bad ending.
To the
So,
yeah, the bad ending to me is Siri Empress. That's the
well,
bad
yeah,
ending.
yeah, I've seen that
Then there's
one.
the okay, we'll save it. I was literally about to go into why I can appreciate the bad ending, but we'll have a whole fucking
We've got a
episode to
whole
talk about that.
episode to talk
And we've
about it
gone
next
on
week.
long enough here. But again, getting distracted is going back to our roots
It
of the
really is.
podcast.
Yeah. What's the weather like there, by the way?
It's about I actually meant to mention that. It's actually going to thunderstorm at any minute. So
Oh, nice.
I meant to give a disclaimer. If all of a sudden it cuts out, that's not me being done recording. That's the power going out. So I think we're going to
Oh
make it. But
God.
yes,
I keep getting scared because there's really horrible wind and storm outside right now, and my window is like a slanted one, so it's absolutely hammering my window, and it's actually quite scary.
bad weather in England. What? Okay,
I
thunderstorms are
know.
now expected in the next 40 minutes. It's supposed to rain all day tomorrow with some winds. It's
Nice.
high school football playoffs are starting, so
Very good.
people aren't gonna be happy about that. But look at this weather coming up. Oh, it's highs in the 50s, lows in the 30s. And as I talk like this, excuse me, as I talk like this, I'm describing it to say, okay, that's like 9 and 10, and lows of like -1 coming up.
Whoa,
I
that's
love it.
pretty low.
Oh yeah, here that's cancel school low if there's any ice or moisture.
Jesus.
That's a January, February thing though around here. That's when
Yes.
the weather
Yeah.
gets bad, like
Yeah.
super
Same.
bad around here. Is when that all comes in. Okay. That is going to do it right there. Join us next week again as we do the endings. But again,
Ah,
massive thanks, Mark983 producing, putting us on the video. Make sure y'all check out all our links below. Our patrons in there. Check out the patron names there. Much, much appreciated to y'all. We have
thank you.
finished House of the Dragon. We did our special Game of Thrones episode. And next week, sometime, actually, which should be the day after this gets released,
Yeah,
we're recording the next part of our series, which is covering the first season of The Witcher.
that's going to be so fun to do on the Patreon.
It is. And it's going to be a sync up and watch it live with us. So
Yeah.
we're going to go back. I think you said you haven't seen it in almost 3 years since it got
Something like
released.
that. Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
It's been about, I think, 2 years, almost 2
Yeah.
years for me, because I think I did a watch with it something. I know
It
the
must be
first time
2 years for me because I watched it again after playing the game for the
Okay.
first time.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's been a while. It'll be super interesting again to go watch that first season,
I know.
especially with the recent news going on there. So that'll be fun. That's $5 a month. You get all that. You get all the backlog stuff too. So make sure to check that out if you are interested in it. Lucy, where can we find you? And including
Uh,
where we're going to have the anniversary stream.
Yes, so you'll find me on pretty much any social media at Lucy J Robin, but the one to note this week is my Twitch. So twitch.tv/Lucy J Robin. There will be a live stream on Saturday, the 19th of November. I don't know what time I'm going to start yet, but probably like early afternoon. And then Brett will join me a little bit later on in the evening once he's done with softball.
But
There will
yeah,
be,
gonna
like
be
we said
fun.
earlier, there's going to be loads of co-op games. We'll do some community games as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just going to be a lot of fun. And maybe we'll like torture ourselves by going to listen to some old podcast episodes for like a few minutes or
Yeah.
something. We'll do something funny.
Do you have the Witcher adventure game?
No, what is that?
I think you got it for free. A lot of people got it for free, I think, on GOG. It's like a board game, but it's
Oh,
like The
no way.
Witcher. I keep forgetting to bring that up to you. We need to look into that. That might be a good one too.
Yeah.
Like a co-op game.
Anything else to note? We're taking part in a Witcher TTRPG on Sunday. So that'll be
Yesterday.
yesterday when this is releases. That's on our friend Tracy's channel. She was a guest on the podcast a couple times, I think.
And when we
Um,
played our D&D game, she
yeah,
was
she was
on there.
also a
It's the
part of
same
it. Yeah.
people from there. Yeah. Alyssa from Breakfast in Beauclair and Gary who ran
Yes.
that session. We are players and Tracy is running it, but this isn't D&D. This is the actual Witcher TT RPG.
Yes. So I have you done it before?
No, I just have all the books and I translated all of that stuff into D&D when I used
Okay.
it.
I have
So I've
no
never
idea
done
what
it.
I'm doing, but it's going to be good fun. We'll put posts up about that. At this point, if you're just listening, maybe it'll be go back and watch the VOD if you fancy catching up.
There you go.
But yeah.
Make sure to check all that stuff out. You can find me on Twitter at the Fox Bride 4. Find me on Twitch, Instagram at the Fox Bride. So yes, join us next time as we finish the main game, but we are going to do side quests and stuff after that,
Yeah.
including stuff like Redania's Most Wanted. Don't worry. We're going to cover that. Not Redania's Most Wanted, Reasons of State.
Yeah.
What was Redania's Most Wanted?
That's like the I don't know, is that like
That's a mission. Redania's
most wanted?
That's,
Is it
I
not
think
is it not like one of the boxing ones? Are you going to fighting in that?
No, I can remember it. You have to go and find. Vaguely, I remember it. We already. I don't know if we covered that. We might have already talked about that. We're gonna do Reasons of State. By God, let's end this thing. Join us next time when we finish the game and we'll finish this podcast. Bye.
See ya.
Well, not finish the podcast.
No.
We'll finish
The podcast
We'll
is
finish
still
The Witcher
going
3.
on.
We're gonna end this episode. Okay, now bye.
Bye.